Jess, and today I'm building in Willow Creek on a 20 by 15 lot, and today's build is just a tiny nail salon that is categorized as like a spa in the game, but I think this would just be a really great addition to any gameplay and hopefully will work well in your game. I definitely am excited to use this in my own personal gameplay, but you can see I'm just getting the shape of the build together, and this is very much just a square build. I wanted it to kind of look like what you would see on the main street of like a small city, and I think I was able to accomplish that look. I think it has like quite a little bit of charm to it, and I was able to use those windows from, I think they're actually base game windows. And I love being able to use them just because they're a little bit more ornate and have that really nice detail on them. So I just think it makes the build stand out. So here you can see I'm just adding a few items to kind of clutter up the front and make it look more like an entryway than just a sort of normal building. And then out in the back, I went ahead and added in just a few details, adding in some ivy. For some reason, I just didn't want to put windows on these two walls. I wanted to keep the interior, the reason being is because I wanted the interior to work out in a certain way. So having windows there wouldn't have worked out for like the kitchen and the TV room. So yeah, anyways, I wanted to add ivy to fill it in with a little bit of something. And I didn't mention this, but this is a nail salon that has an apartment above it. So hopefully that will be nice for gameplay. I feel like it's always nice to have any lot where your sim can like rest and relax and like fully bring all their needs up. And then I also love adding in a dumpster. I don't know about you, but my own personal gameplay when I actually play the game, which is very rare, I like to do rags to riches. So having a dumpster on any lot is really nice for that. So you can dumpster dive. So I'm glad I was able to add that in. And I think it kind of gives it the sense that this is a business, kind of more of a commercial lot. And yeah, I just really wanted to add in some details to make this exterior really feel like it was just heavily detailed and more realistic. So now we're moving on to the interior, and I'm just getting the layout all figured out. And one thing I do want to mention is I do know this is a long video, so I hope you are just sitting along, relaxing with me, maybe eating some food, enjoying a drink. This is definitely a bit more of an involved build than I realized it was gonna be. I just like couldn't stop myself from adding in details to just try and make this feel realistic and just get that vibe that I was going for. So I definitely, as you can see, used a lot of like pastels and lots of color in this build. I wanted it to really feel unique and just have something a little special. So like even down to doing more custom flooring, which I love using this floor from Decor to the Max, and you just press, I think it's Control F, and that's how you get those triangle pieces on the flooring, and that works really well to kind of do some custom flooring. There's some cool tricks I think like you can see on TikTok and stuff that people have come up with. So here you can see I'm getting the layout of the actual spot, and as you can tell, this is a very small spot. I definitely kept it small. So hopefully that works well for you. I think it's kind of amazing what you can end up fitting in a 20 by 15 lot, just because this build I was expecting to go pretty quickly, but how long it ended up being definitely shows me that you can fit in quite a lot of detail on a lot like this. So I just wanted there to be a little entryway area where your Sims could relax, like they were coming in and waiting for their nails to be done. And then I really wanted this platform area where the actual nails would get done. And now I'm adding in this rug and flipping it using tool mod. And I really wanted to use it to be a little bit of a nail polish display. I thought that would look so cute. And this is actually an idea I saw on Twitter, using that rug as like wall art. So definitely can't take credit for it. But of course, I can't remember where I saw it first. It was definitely when High School Years first came out, but it's such a great idea. So I thought I would use it for this nail polish display. And I really love how it looks, even though it is more just like copy and paste. I think it does really have that variation that looks nice. And then, of course, I wanted each layer to be a different color, because that's just kind of like the color blocking effect was sort of what I was going for with this build. So, of course, I'm using rugs from Pastel Pop Kit, and I definitely use a lot of the Pastel Pop Kit in this build, just to bring in those really like funky, more modern kind of designs. And I really love how it ended up working out. So the colors I was kind of going for, the main colors were pink and green. And you can kind of see that throughout. This was a little bit of a arduous process, kind of putting all these different items down, and figuring out what I wanted to go on these shelves. But the snap points are just so random. And yeah, I honestly can't say I had too much fun doing these shelves. They were a little boring, and it's hard at the end of it when like I don't love how it turned out, but in my mind it needed to be a storage shelf, so I really wanted to use those boxes that we have from Dream Home Decorator, but I just don't know if it worked well with the decor, but I just accepted it as it was. So hopefully you enjoy it, and maybe it's just I've been looking at it too long and I'm too close to the project. So here you can see I'm working on sort of, this is like a faux nail bar where you would get like your manicures done. I wanted there to just be a little bit of something in this area. Obviously this isn't a functional space, but it's cute. So sometimes that's all that matters. And I really love this little area. I wish I was able to get a good picture of it for the final shots. Actually, I think I was able to actually, because this is one of my favorite just results. I think I like really does work as a kind of nail salon. So I'm just happy with how it turned out. So this was a little detail that I loved that I came up with. I always forget about that item, that flowers from Eco Lifestyle that go on the wall. And I just used that combined with the High School Years little like fluorescent light, or neon light. And I just thought that added such a cute little touch to that area. And I was very happy with that. But here you can see this is honestly a room that I had enough space for a pretty big bathroom. And for some reason, they require a shower in a spa. So I needed to have a shower area. So I went ahead and just kind of made this like the back room. And I kind of saw this as like where you would get like your eyebrows waxed or like eyelashes done, stuff like that. So that was just my storyline for this room. And I honestly love how this room turned out. I loved the combination of tiles that I was able to use. And that was one thing with this whole build. I just ended up loving everything that I was able to put together. And this is one of those builds where it's closer to my personal style. It's definitely a bit more out there for me, but it made it really fun to do because I got to use things that I personally like and colors that I can have more fun with. So I really enjoyed that. So here you can see I'm just building a little office area because of course I thought this is a business, so you need a little office space. And I love that filing cabinet from High School Years. I totally forgot we had it, but when I was looking for the catalog, I found it and was like happy to discover that, and hopefully I'll remember that we have it now. It's always hard to remember new items as we get them, but it definitely works a lot better in this build than the filing cabinet from Get to Work. So yeah, I was really happy to discover that. So here you can see I'm just building out a little entryway area. I figured this would be like where your sim would kind of walk out, and it would make sense for them to store like their keys and their shoes down here. So I wanted to add that in, and I was able to use the new light switch that we got with the bathroom kit. I honestly have no idea what that kit's called. But I know it was a little controversial, but I do love that we got the light switch. Now with this picture, the shadows do stay there, so I just used the tool mod to bring it into the wall just a little bit to hide the shadow that's there. So that's another perk of using the tool mod. You're able to do that when some items have shadows that are kind of, I don't know, like built into them. And with the tool mod, you're able to just slightly scoot it into the wall. The other thing you can do is just delete the wall and move the item so it's more centrally like located into the wall and build it back up. Hopefully that makes sense, but I just would recommend the tool mod because I think that's so much easier. But everyone builds differently, so it's totally fine. So here you can see we're working on another entryway area. I feel like there's like 3 distinct entryways in this build, which is a lot of entryways for a 12 by 15. And here you can see figuring out the orientation of that rug, I took way too long. It's funny seeing it sped up because I was going back and forth with it it felt like 5 minutes. It was ridiculous. But you can see I'm starting in on the kitchen, and I really went for a modern kitchen. Again, this is a lot of my favorite kind of items, favorite kind of style. It's definitely like if I built my dream kitchen, well, it wouldn't really look like this because I don't like white kitchens necessarily, but this is definitely closer to my own personal style. So I had a lot of fun doing this. And I, of course, used my trick with the, what is that called? The trash can, using it to kind of mimic a stove hood. So I wanted to make it look like that went all the way up into the ceiling. So I used some cabinets to kind of extend it. And I think that ended up looking really nice. So here you can see I'm using the island living counters, but I wanted to kind of customize them. And I've definitely seen other people do this. And again, I wish I could remember where I first saw it. But this combination makes such a cool countertop. So you just use some canvases from Debug and the medium height kind of what would you call them, like striped wall decor. I can't think of what you would call them. And you just size those down, and that combined just makes like a totally new looking countertop, which I just think is really nice in The Sims, and it definitely has more of a modern look, but it's still pretty fun, which works super well for this build. And here you can see I'm doing a little custom book stack. I just didn't think we had anything in the game that really worked with the colors I was using, so I just picked out some books that I thought would work really well. And I will say this is like my dream kitchen clutter shelf because it's gigantic, so I got to add in all the kitchen clutter that I could. It honestly got a little bit difficult to think of items to add in because there was so much space, which, you know, is a great problem to have if you're someone like me and loves to clutter up kitchen shelves. So I think I was able to make this look really nice, and I loved the end result of the kitchen. I really liked the shelf that is really cluttered up, but then having the countertops kept pretty clean. I just think there's a really modern look, but it still has those fun kind of vibes that I wanted for this build with all the different colors and the different kind of pieces all matching in. And I was able to use quite a combination from a few different packs, which was fun. And here you can see I just felt like this wall needed a little extra detail, so I'm again using that neon sign. I love it. I think it's so cute, and in my mind I imagine it would say something like what well, I guess like I guess kitchen is what I would think in my mind, or You know, those signs that have cute little sayings. I would imagine that would be that kind of sign. Like, this is the place, stuff like that. So you can see I'm working on the dining room, and there's just enough space in this like kind of big area. I actually initially was really not sure how I was going to set up this space because I've been doing so many tiny homes that I was like overwhelmed with the amount of space I had in this build, but I finally kind of figured it out. So I went ahead and did more of a reading space here. And then the living room you can see is kind of by that wall divider. So I really liked how this little reading space came together. And of course I had to add in a ton of plants. So you'll see that just a little bit later. And one thing that I do like to do is use those Desert Luxe curtains, and just to change the kind of curtain rod color to be whatever color you want it to, I just sized down the curtains to 0.95, and then you can't see the colors that they come with. You can just see the curtain rod color that you've selected. Hopefully that makes sense. But just sizing them down a little bit, you can pick whatever color curtain rod you actually want. So you don't have to be beholden to like the colors that they actually are. Because almost always I want a white curtain rod, or at least lately. So that's been really nice to kind of figure that out. And I'm loving the Desert Luxe curtains still. They're so amazing. Such a great addition to the game as a builder. I appreciate it so much. Now, one thing here I have to mention, it was so frustrating to me because I couldn't find two pink rugs that really had the same kind of tones of pink. So it really bothers me that pink rug and the circle rug are kind of two different, like one's more of a warm pink and one's more of a cooler tone. I just have to call it out. It bugged me. Hopefully it won't annoy you too much. But it's just the little things where it's like, if I could just shift it on a color wheel just slightly, it would be perfect. But in this build, I really did want to use the bathroom clutter kit because I haven't really been able to use it to its full potential. And I would say here I didn't necessarily, but honestly, I do really like the items, and it really makes the bathroom more interesting to build because usually I hate doing bathrooms, but I actually didn't mind doing it this time. I thought it was kind of fun. Part of it might be that the items are still brand new, so it's still a little bit more fun. So there was this entirely extra room, which of course you would be able to build into like another room easily, but I wanted to have it be an art studio. I thought that would be fun and would make sense for the person who owned this business. So I just added in a lot of different items that made it look like an artist lives here, adding in that like tarp down on the floor, and then of course a bunch of sketches that would be pasted up on the wall. And that other little piece is, those sketches are from base game and the other piece is from high school years. It took me a while to find, so I want to make sure you know if you ever need to look for it in the catalog. But here you can see I'm just adding in a few ottomans because I figured it would make sense that they would maybe want to like sit down and sketch somewhere, and they just have a couple of those stacked up. And then I wanted to add in a little bit of an art cart, and that's from high school years. And the little craft pad is also from high school years that I added in there. So now we're on to the bedroom, which is the last room of the build. I really enjoyed doing this bedroom, and it was nice to save it for last because it was just like the perfect amount of clutter to finish it off. So you can see I added in a little incense because I do make room for a yoga mat. I thought that would again work really well in this gameplay, and there was just enough space for this to work out. But that actually means we're coming close to the end of the video. So I want to thank you so much for your support, for taking the time to watch this long video. This was definitely more of a challenge for me doing the voiceover. So I'm still learning how to do these voiceovers. So thank you for sticking in there with me. So the last few things, I had some trouble picking out the rug, but I figured it out. So I hope you have a great day, a great rest of your week. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.